This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to DevOps training. This is Shubham Akhtar. I'm a software consultant and corporate trainer. In this session, I want to discuss about Kubernetes. Kubernetes is an orchestration for the containers. Let's understand, then we'll proceed. And what is Kubernetes? Benefit of using Kubernetes. Ports is very basic unit for Kubernetes. Also, you can say it is a one of component. Understanding controllers. So controllers is also one of component in a Kubernetes. Understanding services, it is also component in a Kubernetes. Storage in Kubernetes. Kubernetes is container orchestration, means you can run multiple container in a Kubernetes cluster. Container orchestration, one of container is Docker container. We will work with Docker container. Kubernetes job to start and stop container based application based on system administrator or developer. This is few benefits of using Kubernetes: speed of deployment and ability to recover quickly, and high infrastructure complexity in a cluster. So you can set up by the CLI, or you can create with the help of console. Both options for you. I will go for CLI. Most of the people preferred CLI. Most of the company preferred CLI. Ports. Ports is a construct to represent one or more container inside Kubernetes cluster. So see and understand. For example, this is container. Inside pod, you can run container. You can run container inside pod. And pods comes under nodes. Pods comes under nodes. And nodes comes under Kubernetes cluster. This is the architecture for Kubernetes. So it comes under Kubernetes cluster. So container comes under pods, or more than one container comes under pods, and pods comes under nodes. Nodes means virtual machines, and nodes comes under Kubernetes cluster. So we will set up cluster in our hands-on and practical Kubernetes cluster. And if you are going to set up Kubernetes cluster and you are working with AWS cloud, Amazon maybe prepare a bill for you, invoice for you. Before going to complete this hands-on and practical, be careful. Sometime, or most of the time I'm saying, Amazon will charge you, prepare a bill for you or invoice for you. Why? Because we are going to create, or create a node, at least two nodes we will create, and it comes under M family. So M family nodes comes under free tier. Amazon will charge you. I think M5 family we are going to create with the help of AWS virtual machine and with the help of utilities, Kubernetes utilities, kubectl, eksctl utilities. So container comes under pods, pods comes under nodes, nodes comes under Kubernetes cluster. So pod is a construct to represent one or more container, means inside a pod you can run one or more containers. Inside Kubernetes cluster, it is a container-based application or service you need to deploy into Kubernetes cluster. It is a most basic unit of work, and it is a unit of scheduling An ephemeral no pod is ever redeployed. Kubernetes job is keeping your pod running, and then state is the pod up and running. Health is the application in a pod running. These all are few key points related to the pods. As I said, controller is a one-off component in a Kubernetes cluster. Controller creates and manages pods for you and defined inside the state, and it responds to the pod, state, and health, and replica set. Number of replicas, how many replicas you want to run, and deployment container manage rollout of replica set. Services. Services are networking abstraction for port access. It is assigned IP address and DNS name, domain name system, and domain name server. It assigns IP and DNS name for service, and it is used to redeploy ports, automatically updated, and is scaled by adding or removing ports. And service provide load balancing to distribute application traffic to virtual machine. Load balancing means it is going to distribute application traffic to virtual machine. For example, more than one nodes is running, so load balancer will distribute application traffic to nodes or virtual machines. Services provide load balancer. So more than one nodes is running, and a load balancer is going to distribute application traffic to virtual machine or nodes. Okay, let me go ahead. I want to go and I want to set up Kubernetes environment, or you can say infrastructure. If you want to create your Kubernetes cluster, so you have to set up environment. Most of the time, I already work with CLI or command line or Linux commands. Same I'm going for Kubernetes. If you want to, run Kubernetes cluster, so you require the command line utilities. So one utility is a kubectl, second utility is eksctl, third utility is IAM authenticator. So these things we required. Let's see and understand. I'm going for EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Cluster. Kubernetes you will find almost same in normal Kubernetes, or you can say AWS Kubernetes or Google Kubernetes. You will find almost same. Ultimately, goal is to run container inside Kubernetes cluster. Ultimate goal, but you will find a different kind of infrastructure if you are working with AWS cloud or Google cloud or Microsoft Azure, or your on-premise server. You will find a little bit differences in infrastructure, but ultimately goal, your cluster should be up and running. Node should be created with the help of CLI or with the help of console. Ultimately goal is to run container inside Kubernetes cluster. Let's see and understand prerequisites, or you can say command line utilities. So prerequisites means you require a virtual machine. You require a virtual machine where you can set up your C command line utilities. So one of command line utility is kubectl, and second command line utility is eksctl, and third one is IAM authenticator. These things you require, and after that you can create a Kubernetes cluster and you can run your container inside Kubernetes cluster. I already said that container run under the ports, and ports comes under nodes, nodes comes under Kubernetes cluster. So these utility we will set, and we'll go for advanced Linux commands. These all are notes I noted down from official document from AWS side, user guide, as well as from developer guide. So I already noted down most important thing, because if you will check user guide in AWS or developer guide, you will find hundred of pages. So I summarize the notes from the AWS official document to this PPT. Let's understand. You must install and configure the following tools and resources that you need to create, manage an Amazon EKS cluster, Amazon Elastic Kubernetes cluster. kubectl, kubectl, a command line tool for working with Kubernetes cluster. This guide requires you use version 1.19 or later. To install kubectl on Linux platform, download Amazon EKS vended kubectl binary for your cluster Kubernetes version from Amazon S3. To download the ARM version, change ARM 64 to 64 before running the command. This is 1.19 version. If you'll focus here, curl command -o is a flag, and kubectl, and I want to download kubectl. This is the URL. This is amazon-eks.s3 us west-2 aws.amazon.aws.com, and this is one of directory 1.19.6, and next directory, the next directory, the next directory, the next directory, then you are going to download kubectl. After downloading kubectl utility, you have to download SHA-256. SHA-256 is a hash or unique ID for kubectl. And after that, you can check the SHA-256, some of your downloaded binary, with the help of openssl SHA-1-SHA-256 kubectl. So directly I'm going to run this command on a virtual machine. Same you can follow with me. So these PPTs I will share with you, and this time I'm going to keep only the hands-on and practical in the notes, so that you can follow these hands-on and practicals. So first of all, I want to download kubectl. These all set up for Kubernetes 1.9, and first of all, I want to download kubectl. This is a command. I'm just going to copy this command. Let me go ahead with my AWS account, and I would proceed with AWS and then EC2. Keep in your mind, whenever you are going to hands-on and practical in your environment or in your account, Amazon will prepare a bill for you or invoice for you. Be careful. If you are ready to pay, then go ahead. Otherwise, no problem. So I want to proceed with my registered email address with AWS. I'm gonna click on sign in. I want to proceed. This is my running instance. Okay, I'm not going for this virtual machine. I want to go ahead with control server virtual machine. Let me rename it. I want to make it as a Kubernetes virtual machine. I want to save this name, and I want to start this virtual machine first. Then I want to connect, and I want to work with this virtual machine. Now my virtual machine is in running state. I want to copy IP address and let me go ahead with partition. I want to connect with this virtual machine ec2-user @ IP address. I'm gonna click on plus sign, then authentication, then allow agent forwarding, and then appearance, and then change. I want to go ahead with 12 size. I'm gonna click on OK. I'm gonna click on open, and then accept. Fine. I want to give clear command for clear screen. First of all, I want to show you in this environment, in this virtual machine, you would not find any kubectl. I'm going ahead and I want to download kubectl first. So Kubernetes is for orchestration for the container. Orchestration means you can run multiple container or multiple components with the help of Kubernetes cluster. So first of all, first utility or command line utility is kubectl. I want to download this kubectl first. If you'll focus, downloaded kubectl. This time it is look like file, white color file. And let me go ahead with sh256. So if you want to download sh256, you can go ahead with directly this command kubectl sh256. I want to download this. If you'll focus, you can see kubectl 256 I downloaded. And then next you can check, sh256 hash sum of binary downloaded binary openssl and sh1 sh256 kubectl. It will show you unique ID or hash for kubectl. And then let me proceed next. After that, you have to give execute permission to kubectl. If you will check, permission chmod for change mode or change permission for kubectl plus x means we are going to give execute permission to kubectl. Apply execute permission to binary. So if you'll focus, executable file means it will be shown green color. This is one of identification. And the next, what you have to do, copy the binary folder in a path. If you have already installed a version of kubectl, then we recommend creating a home bin kubectl, ensuring the home bin comes first in your path. So we have to make a directory home bin and we have to copy kubectl and then export. And this is the path. Optional, add the home bin path to your shell initialize file so that it is configured when you open a shell. So this is a default file bashrc. If you aware about Windows environment variable, same in Linux is bashrc environment variable. You can set environment variable inside a bashrc file. Bashrc, bash profile. There are multiple files, default Linux file you will find in Linux home. So we are going to export this path inside a bashrc. And after that, after you install kubectl, you can verify its version with following command. This will be the command. You can check kubectl version. If I'm directly going ahead, okay, let me copy the all information and I want to keep in a notes. I want to keep in a notes. Execute binaries. If you'll focus kubectl with the help of ls-l command, you can check, or ll command, you can check ll and then kubectl. If you'll focus this time permission, so it is showing here, uh, user permission, there is no execute permission. Group permission, there is no execute permission. And other permission, there is no execute permission. Chmod is for change mode or change permission. Plus X means we are going to give execute permission to kubectl. So this execute permission will set for user, and it will set for group, and it will set for others with the help of this command chmod. Obviously, to change permission, you required root permission or admin permission. So with the help of ch command, let me go ahead this time, ch sudo let me try with chmod plus x and then kubectl. Let me try this. If I will check this time kubectl, so you can see it is showing in green color. This is identification, this is executable file. And if you'll focus to the user, execute permission is here, to group, execute permission is here, for other, execute permission is here. Okay, let me go to the next. Next, we need to create, directory. And I'm going and I want to create a directory. This is a command to create a directory as well as copy kubectl as well as export. I want to copy this command and then run this command. Fine. And let me go ahead. There is no error. There is no issue. If you'll focus this line, bashrc line, if you will see bashrc file, this is a default Linux file, bashrc. It is look like for environment variable. You can set environment variable inside bashrc. If you'll check here, ls, you would not find any file, ls-a. Any file means a hidden file, I'm saying. ls-a is a command to check all files and directories, including hidden files and directories. So here is a bash logout hidden direct file, bashrc hidden file, and bash history hidden file, bash profile hidden file, and .vim info, vim info, and then .ssl. These all are hidden directories as well as files. If I will check with the help of cat command, cat is used to show the content inside a file. With bashrc, you would not find in a last, you would not find, this environment. We want to export path equals to path home bin bashrc. This path we want to export inside this file, bashrc file. Echo is a command, we know. Echo is a command, and it will use to append. Double shift operator or shift operator or double greater than means it will append. Okay, let me go ahead and I want to run this command. If you'll focus this time in the bashrc, you will find in the last export path equals to path colon home and then bin. I will give clear command for clear screen, and let me go ahead and check kubectl version. So kubectl to check nodes and to check ports is running or not. These things you can check with the help of kubectl. So kubectl version, you can see client version is v11.19.6 eksctl. So next utility we required is eksctl. So this time I want to work with eksctl. EK, EKS-Session-1 if I'm not wrong. Command line utility. Command line utility. Okay, let me go ahead and work with EKS-Session and we need to download. Let me keep only the hands-on and practical. I'm just going to keep these all information and I will paste here. First of all, we need to download, showing here to install or upgrade eksctl on Linux using curl command. So for downloading, we can download with the help of this command. So this command is saying that we have to move into user local bin in a binaries. So I'm just going to go ahead with end and then copy this command and download eksctl. I want to download eksctl this time, and it will be extract in a home in TMB. It will extract tar zx -c. And if I will check inside ls temp, you can see eksctl is downloaded. And then next thing we have to move binary. It is showing, I think, temp to user local bin. I want to move. mv command is used to move a file from one location to another location or from source to destination. This time source is temp eksctl and destination is user local bin. I want to move. I'm just going to copy this command and then paste. Fine. If I will check this time eksctl version, it will show the version now 0.114.0. Next, I want to go ahead and then set up few things. I want to set up few more things. Let me go back to the nodes and check if anything is left. It's complete from this PPT. And let me go ahead with the next PPT. Few more things we need to configure, and in this case see what we have to configure. Prerequisites is virtual machine, prerequisites is kubectl, prerequisites is eksctl setup. And then next we have to install and configure AWS CLI. Why? Because we want to create a Kubernetes cluster in AWS environment, so we require AWS CLI. And we have to set up access key ID and secret access key, and we required IAM authenticator, and then we can create Kubernetes cluster. So let me check AWS version. Most of the time in AWS Amazon Linux virtual machine you will find AWS. This time AWS hyphen version. I'm going ahead, showing AWS hyphen CLI 1.18.147 version is already available. If I'm going ahead with AWS configure, this time it will show access key ID, secret access key, default region name, and default output format. So I want to keep my root keys here as well as I want to keep my region name. So let me go ahead with my root keys. I want to go ahead with my root keys. I want to set up my root keys. So I want to go ahead with AWS and keep here. And this time I want to set up access key ID and secret access key, and cluster I want to create in Mumbai region. So this is access key ID. I would copy, and then I would set up access key ID and then secret access key. And I want to create this cluster in Mumbai region, AP-South-1. This is the you know technical name and default output format. I want to keep as default. So this time I already set up access key ID, secret access key, region name, and default output format. I'm going to give clear command for clear screen. And the next thing, I'm going ahead for IAM Authenticator. This is for IAM Authenticator. I'm just going to copy and then paste in the notes. So this time we are working with IAM Authenticator. And after this, you have to set up AWS configure, set up keys, and either you can use user keys or you can set up root keys, depends on your need. So set up keys, access key ID, and then secret access key, and then go ahead with IAM Authenticator. And you need to download IAM Authenticator, and then you have to set up. So these information I would keep in the notes. So install AWS IAM Authenticator on Linux platform. And for downloading IAM Authenticator, this is the URL. You can go to this URL. These all are official documents in AWS. I want to download IAM Authenticator this time. If you'll see showing IAM Authenticator downloaded successfully, and I need to download SHA-256 also. So this is for SHA-256. I want to go for and download. I'm going for last or end. Okay, let me copy this command and I want to paste this command. If you'll see SHA-256 is downloaded successfully, and then let me go and check with the help of this command, openssl command. It will show the ID of IAM Authenticator, AWS IAM Authenticator, showing unique ID, showing unique hash. And then we need to execute, and we have to give executable permission, or we make to this IAM Authenticator as a executable file. Fine, you can see it is showing in green color. Now let me go ahead with next. So same command you need to follow. I'm just going to keep this information in a notes, but we already done these steps. Last step I'm going to check, because I already keep this information in our bashrc file. And let me go ahead and run this command. I want to create a directory, as well as copy, as well as export IAM Authenticator. Fine, there is no problem. And let me export also. And let me test that IAM Authenticator binary works or not. If everything is fine, it will show the help. AWS IAM Authenticator help. Showing help. Fine. I will give clear command for clear screen. And this is set up. And after that we can work with the cluster.